Last 5 seconds. Ready? Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, the seventh 5-year plan presented to us, I very humbly submit, is not even worth the paper on which it is printed. About the direction my honorable friend has spoken, and I do not want to repeat the same. A plan which has no direction, a plan which is only meant for status quo, not only status quo, a plan which increases disparity and inequality, a plan which takes the country back economically cannot be said to be a plan at all. The Planning Commission has expressed some pious hopes and said inflation is the main obstacle. Yes, you have identified it, but unfortunately, if I may make a little digression, the Planning Commission is a dumping ground for unwanted ministers. A man who is not doing good work has been dumped here, so you can see the seriousness of it. You have identified inflation, but how do you solve it? The finance ministry, which is in charge, is taking steps towards increasing inflation. The industry ministry, the agriculture ministry, they are following policies which will increase inflation. So for what purpose are you identifying a malady for which you have no remedy? Already the budget of this country is dependent on 75% loans from outside, and we have to go begging to the World Bank and other international monetary institutions. How can you plan when your budget is dependent to that extent on foreign resources? Only the other day we were told that rupees 5,000 crores are coming from the International Monetary Fund with all their conditions to which we have agreed, and these conditions have not been disclosed. All these will lead to further inflation. Then we have an economy of shortages. When you are following a policy of economy of shortages, do you think that inflation can be contained? What does not know that there is economy of shortages? Then there is black money. After the Supreme Court decision on the black bonds, even in black bonds there is black market. Yes, there is black market in black bonds. Do you think that with all these phenomena and all these policies and steps you will be able to contain inflation? And if you cannot contain inflation, and if inflation is allowed to go on, them, as my friend asked, what is the plan worth for the poor of our country? My friend said that today it is 37%, and I say it will go on increasing. In the industrial sector you have put some targets, but what is your industrial policy resolution of 1985? Your industrial policy resolution provides for automatic expansion, regularization of excess capacity, and export oriented economy. Tell me, Mr. Planning Minister, with all these policies you are following, do you think you can achieve your targets? Can anybody plan with these policies of automatic expansion? I would like to have an answer to this from the planning minister when he replies to the debate. If there is automatic expansion, where is your target? If there is regularization of excess capacity, what will happen to your target? With an export oriented economy, how can you plan? That depends on the vagaries of international supply and demand position, and to certain extent international political situation. How can you forecast these? Now come to agricultural sector. After you have completed the sixth 5-year plan successfully, you are going in for massive import. What will happen to your target in this sector in the plan? Where is the provision for flood, drought and other vagaries of nature? The whole gigantic plain, Gangetic plain is floating on water. It can be turned into the world's bread basket, but how can you do it with the priority you have given for irrigation? If you have a plan to tackle this region, then you would have to contain drought to some extent. Coming to flood, you have a flood committee report. I don't know whether this fact has been brought to your notice, because I do not find any reflection of it in this plan document. They are in 3 or 4 volumes and they are gathering dust somewhere. Not a single thing has been noted from them, nor is there any direction to implement the programs or to do anything to control the floods. They do not find any reflection here. Then, sir, I come to the question of energy. Sir, today it is agreed that if you want a forward economy, if you want a developed economy, you will have to go in for fusion energy. Your plan is for some solar energy at the most and for some pretty things. Of course, other things are there, but as I said, those things will keep your economy move backward. So in that field also, your priority is wrong. Unless you plan for fusion energy, you cannot solve the problem of energy, and if the energy problem is not solved, your agricultural production will not improve anymore. Sir, now I come to the last 2 points. The finance minister has announced modification of section 115 to export companies. While it is a welcome thing, again, this whole scheme of maximum tax is counterproductive and pernicious. What was the scheme? Investment allowance was given. Some companies grew in size 8 times, 10 times and did not pay tax because they took advantage of these provisions. Now, there was an uproar and you said that whatever our profits 30% we have to pay. You said investment allowance will not be there, and instead if you deposit money with IDBI, that much rebate you will get. What happens in practice? The Indian companies, the efficient companies, the growing companies are companies which are hit. Who has got spare money to put with the IDBI? Only the multinational companies would do that because they have no intention of growing. They have no interest in the Indian economy. They have only interest in computers and Pepsi Cola. They are not interested in employment. So they can put money in IDBI, which is again temporary borrowing, which I have discussed earlier, and they get all the rebate. And Indian company is committed to India, committed to employment growth. It is put to disadvantage. This provision of investment allowance under section 115, the finance minister has reconsidered only for export companies. I submit that the entire scheme of section 115 should be scrapped and investment allowance should be restored to what was there for so many years. It has stood the test of the time. The idea was companies stand to lose and the foreign companies stand to gain. This is no use. You must have to total re-look at this scheme. I want to say two more. Got a lot of provisions which are supposed to be novel, like uniform accounting. Some bureaucrats from somewhere has come out. What is uniform accounting here? It means that everybody must have the same accounting year. It makes no sense in a time when computerization is there, in a time when each tax assessee is given a code number and cross-checking can be done. Sir, it makes no difference to me as a private entrepreneur, but it makes difference to me as a member of parliament. Our tax system will be under severe strain. The quality of assessment will go down further. Tax evasion will become more rampant. These are all the things that are going to happen, and they are the most pernicious things. Certain corrupt officials will wield more powers. It is totally uncalled for. These kind of refinements, as they call them, are totally uncalled for. The real objective of the direct tax bill should be effectively collect tax in a simple way. I will give some more examples of the changes made in this finance bill. For instance, the finance bill, the budget proposal said that for alcohol and scrap, 60% of the sale value will be counted as income. After a lot of noise, the finance minister has been kind enough to bring it down to 35% or 40%. But I want to know why alcohol. What will happen in a mechanism like this is that the sale proceeds will be shown at a lesser value and the government will not get the tax. This kind of refinements are not understood. They are arbitrary. Why cannot the income tax officer do an assessment for which he is paid? It is wholly uncalled for. I request section 44AC should be totally deleted. It is a pernicious section. Finally, I come to a point of search, seizure and raids, popularly called raids and enforcement machinery. In early 1960, a proposal was introduced in this income tax act that due to rampant evasion, income tax authority should have the power to search the premises of a tax assessee and to seize any documents which show revenue concealment. Sir, I would like to know from the finance minister the total amount spent on searches and seizures in the last 27 years and the total revenue, if any, the government was able to get as a result of these searches and seizures. Every time we read about some big business houses or monopoly houses being not good, and when a monopoly house was raided, it becomes a big news. That is only done sometime to have sensational news for public. But what do we see today? One day we read in the paper the name is given that Mr. So and so has been raided and so much concealment of income has been found. By this we have successfully destroyed his reputation, whatever he had in the social circle. Stop.